Good morning. This is Jay Rothman from Huntington Beach, California. It is Tuesday morning. It has been a cool morning out here, about 57 when I got out here. And so I have my gloves and beanie hat on, but I also was wearing pants and a hoodie, and so a little bit of a chill, but I pushed through and just completed most of my spiritual practice. I wanted to check in on something that I have been in pause and reflecting on for about 12 hours now. How often do we get tripped up or triggered by other people's behavior? I think it probably happens daily, and the potential is there. And yesterday I was having a beautiful day. I worked. I had the opportunity to be of service and coach 3 of my clients as well, and took time in the late afternoon to take a walk, and then sat down and was continuing my reading on a book called The Clarity Cleanse. And then from there I went to a local retail shop where I stop in every couple of days to pick up one of my products that help keep my body pure and clean. And what I encountered was a gentleman stopped into the store, and he was wearing a t-shirt that said Billionaire's Boy Club. And in that moment, someone said to him, you will never ever be a billionaire. And he goes on to say, you may make it to $999 million, but I guarantee you, you will never be a billionaire. And in that moment, I was just in absolute shock. And Mary said to the gentleman something to the effect like, why would you say something like that? Why would you put that out there? And I was, in the moment, I was so tripped and triggered that I was not able to put the pause button on, and I came at him as well. Actually, I went to the guy that he attacked, and I said to him, don't believe the bullshit lie. Don't believe the story. You could do whatever it is that you want to do, and don't let him or anyone else tell you what you are not capable of doing. And I walked out of the store, and I didn't realize how much I had been tripped up. And so I've used my evening and this morning to be in deep thought and prayer, and really try to get to the root at what was going on for myself. What did I hear and what did I receive? And this is what I got out of it. I got 2 things out of that experience. One was that this gentleman uses sarcasm as part of his MO. That's just part of who he is. Or at least that's what, he doesn't say that's how I am, but that's how he behaves. And I've actually received some of his sarcasm just a couple of days ago, and I actually just came back at him and didn't call him out on it, but I just kind of razzed him, not in a sarcastic way, but and I'll say in my own gentle way. But here's what I know. Sarcasm, when used, there's nothing funny about sarcasm. It's always done in a hurtful way. And what I learned in my own personal recovery is that sarcasm is what they call ripping of the flesh, which means it's a joke that you use on somebody else, and it's hurtful. And the difference between sarcasm and wit is pretty remarkable. Now here's the deal. Here's my truth. I used sarcasm as a survival tool. I learned how to embrace that and get really good at it. I started to use sarcasm, I think, when I was a teenager, and I was maybe even younger. I was dealing with bullying at school, and who doesn't? And I think probably most people are bullied at school unless they're the quarterback on a football team or a superstar of some sort. Otherwise, I believe we all encounter some form of bullying. And it's not that we receive it, it's what we do with it when we do receive it. And whether we take it on or whether we're able to push it off. I took it on, and I wasn't a fighter through my fists, so I had to learn another technique on how to fight back. And so I learned how to do that through my words. And I became a master at sarcasm, and then I took that into my adulthood. And what I know today is, like, whenever I'd be uptight or uncomfortable in a situation with people, I would resort to sarcasm as a way to build myself up and put other people down, and it kind of helped me feel better about myself. And I didn't even know how bad I was, how devastating it was to people who probably received my behavior, my sarcasm. But it was pointed out to me about 5 or 6 years ago when I was going through a rehab for one of my addictions, because I was using sarcasm all day, every day, and basically attacking other people that were in rehab with me through my words. And I was not able to control it. I mean, I was out of control. And here's what I can tell you today is that sarcasm is just a survival technique that I mastered to get through. And when people say, well, you know, that's just how I am, I don't accept that. I don't accept that that's just someone's personality. That is not their personality. That is just a survival technique to get through and feel better about themselves and put themselves up. And if they attack someone else, somehow it feeds their ego. But I'll tell you what, I had to work really hard at letting go of sarcasm and that behavior. And I don't believe that I behave that way today. And I tend to gravitate towards wit. That's healthy. Like when you could use wit and it's smart and it's not attacking somebody else, wit's okay. Wit is actually, I think, fun and healthy to engage with people. As a matter of fact, I've got a friend of mine. His name is Kevin. He actually was my next door neighbor back in the days when I lived in Seattle. I know Kevin, I think about 25 years now. Now Kevin and I always had this beautiful relationship, and we bantered back and forth as two men. And I don't believe that there was sarcasm behind it, because I never ever felt threatened by those words, and I never felt it as painful. But we always had this beautiful ability to just kind of wit each other out, and we still do. It's just not as often, but when we do it, it's fun and it's engaging, and it's actually a way that we actually complement each other through wit. So wit is good. The other trigger that I got out of that exchange yesterday that wasn't even addressed at me was when he said, "You will never ever make $1 billion." Now this guy who was wearing this billionaire boys club, I think he was somewhere in his early 30s. He looked like his energy was just absolutely beautiful. He was a soft but stocky guy. It looked like he was some type of either bodybuilder or jiu-jitsu or some type of sport. So, you know, he was in good shape, but yet he received this really hurtful sarcasm. And what tripped me up was also not the fact that there was sarcasm, but the message. And the message was that you will never, ever make it. You will never be that billionaire. And it just tripped me up, and I didn't understand why until I walked out and I had some time to process that moment. And what it was is that, like, how often have we been told as children, have we received a message from a loved one, or even someone at school, a teacher, someone from church or synagogue, that tells you what you're not going to be able to do? And I remember as a kid, someone in my life had said to me, "You're nothing but a dreamer." And at that time, it probably was said because Supertramp had a song out at that time, "You're nothing but a dreamer." And that's very different than saying, "You are a dreamer." Nothing but a dreamer. I received that as a child, as a teenager, that I just dream, but I'm never going to make it because I don't follow through. That's what I received. Now, whether or not that was the intention of the words spoken, it's irrelevant today. But I know this, is that we have to be so careful and so aware of the words we speak and the messages we give to our loved ones, especially our children, because we have no idea how impactful it is and how it damages our esteem and our soul. And then we take that message, that lie, it's all that it is, into our adulthood, and then it's kind of carried with us, and it's always in our subconscious. It's just there, unless you are healthy enough to understand that and work through that. But so many of us don't have those tools when we're young, and so we take that hurtful, destructive message into our adulthood, and it kind of holds us back. It kind of keeps us in bondage. So those are my thoughts, and really why I wanted to share these two ideas with you. One is about don't believe the lie. Don't carry it and let it go. Just destroy it, rip it up, and know that you are none of those things that somebody said you were. And and that there is hope, because today I don't use sarcasm in my day-to-day interaction with people, and instead of sarcasm, I do my best to just come from a loving, kind, gentle, compassionate perspective, and just show my love to people that are deserving of it. And at the same time, to understand that, like, I don't have to engage with people who are sarcastic. It's a choice. It's a choice to put myself in front of them or interact with them. But the other part, the last part of this message is that there's two things that come from this. One is that it's a choice to stay in a relationship with someone who is just mean-spirited and uses sarcasm. And the second point is that to have a voice. And the voice that I heard yesterday, not only from myself but from Mary, was like, you know, she spoke up and she called this individual out on it. And you know, that is empowering. That is that when you feel something is being said, whether it be to you or you are a witness to it, and it is hurtful, you can speak up and you could call someone out, not in a mean way, but just let them know, like, you know, that was just really mean-spirited. Or you could say something like, ouch. Or you could respond like I did to the individual who was on the receiving end and just say, don't believe that bullshit lie, because that's all that it is. And that's not your story. And if you want to make $1 billion, you can do it. You can do it. So those are my thoughts and my feelings for this morning as the sun is finally peeking through. I am going to get on with my day. I'm going to continue wrapping up my self-care. And so those are my words of the day. My words of the day are: use wit, you have a choice, you have a voice, and don't believe the lies. Take care. Bye-bye.